basic shell scripting. In our first video on shell scripting, we prepared our environment so we'd have quick access to a command prompt to run our scripts as well as Notepad, and we also set up a scripts directory. So let's go and open up a copy of Notepad and start scripting. Now when you write scripts, no matter how good you are, one day you're likely to return to a script that you wrote and wonder what on earth it actually does. So before we start scripting, the first thing we'll talk about is commenting your scripts. So what is a comment? Well, a comment is just a bit of text that appears inside a script, but it's not actually executed as code. It's just there so that you can write a little bit of text explaining what the code does. So let's start by adding a comment to what will become our first script. There's two ways we can add comments to our scripts. The first method is using the rem command. Rem simply stands for remarks, and this tells the command interpreter that this is not a line of code and not to execute it. So we could write something like, rem, this is my first script, and all of this text after the rem statement will be ignored when we actually run our script. Now other scripters prefer to use a double colon instead of writing rem, and this does exactly the same thing. Now you can use whichever you prefer. Personally, I like this double colon method as it breaks up the text a bit more and makes it a little easier to read and identify the comments, especially in a larger script. It's personal, but that's my choice. But there's actually a difference between the two choices, and we'll get to that in a moment. Now as it stands, we could just save this file by clicking on File, Save, and then just giving it a name. So I'll call this script first.bat, and we enter in the .bat extension, which simply stands for batch. Now if we don't add the .bat extension, Notepad will just give it a .txt extension, and Windows won't know that this file is actually an executable script. So these .bat or batch files are called batch files or shell scripts or just scripts, but back in the day we used to call it a batch file. The modern scripter calls them scripts. Take your pick. I personally like calling these sorts of shell scripts batch files and VB scripts scripts, but that's me. At the end of the day, if your script is rubbish and doesn't work, I'm sure that other people will come up with an appropriate name for it on your behalf. Okay, now we have saved our first batch file. Now at this stage, our script won't really do much. After all, it only has a couple of lines of text, and they're just comments which of course will be ignored by the command interpreter. But let's run it anyway. Now a couple of points to think about when running scripts. If we just simply double click on our script, sure it'll run, but what will happen is a command prompt will appear and disappear, and any output that your script produced will come and go, probably faster than you can read it. But let's go and have a look at it anyway. So we'll click on Start, open up my computer and our C drive, and then our scripts directory, and here we can see our first batch file. So if we just double click on this, well, if your eyes are better than mine and you could read that, more power to you. So what we really need to do is run these scripts from a command prompt at least until they're fully tested, working, and that you can ensure that they are doing what they need to be doing. So we'll go and open up our command prompt from our quick launch, and then we'll type in the name of our script, which is first.bat, and we'll hit enter. And voila, here's the output of our first script. It's not much, again, because there isn't actually any real lines of code. So all we can see here is comments we made appearing on the screen. Now remember, we had two lines of text. One was prefixed with rem, R-E-M, and the other with a double colon. So one of these showed text on our command prompt and the other didn't. It's probably not difficult to guess which one showed the text. Of course, it was the first line that showed the text here. Now even though this text doesn't actually do anything, it's just there for reference, the rem line displayed it and the double colon showed nothing, hiding these comments from our output. So that's the main difference between using these two methods. Now even if you do use rem, by the way, you don't actually have to display these comments on your screen. So we can even comment out our comments, if you like, by adding the @ symbol to the start of our rem line. So now, if we go and rerun our script, you can see the output is nothing. Cool, commenting out comments. You could even make a job of that. In fact, some people already have. But what about commenting out our already commented out double colon? Well, that sounds like a double negative. So if we hide something that's already hidden, does that mean that it will show the comment? Well, you can try it out if you like, but the answer is no. So which is better, a double colon or a rem statement? Well, ultimately they both do the same thing, so it's really up to you. But as I said earlier, I prefer to use the double colon as I think it makes things easier to read. And there is this wacky school of thought that says double colon scripts execute faster as there's less text to process. Well, I suppose that technically that's probably true, but I doubt you'll really notice any difference. Alright, well we don't really have any code in our script so far, so let's get serious and we'll add our first line of code to make this even more exciting than it is now. Now in every good script book, how to or whatever always starts with the good old hello world. It's simply a message that writes hello world on the screen. It's great, and even experienced programmers really enjoy seeing it again and again. Okay, that was a lie. So much so that I'm not going to do it. Anyway, to write text back to the screen, we'll use the echo command. When you echo something, you say it back, just like if you yelled something out and your voice echoed back to you. So we'll type in echo followed by some text. Now I said we wouldn't use the old boring hello world, so we'll just type in goodbye world. Cool. Alright, well let's save our script and we'll go back to our command prompt and we'll rerun it. Now this is the exciting bit. See? Goodbye world is displayed on the screen, and because it's a script, you can run it again and again and again if you like. See? I told you scripting is fun. Now go and get your friends and show them, and they'll think it's great too. Now the best thing is that whenever you need to write goodbye world again and again, you can simply run this script. There's no need to type it out. See how much fun this is? Now actually, the word echo that we used here to display the text on the screen does have a few other special uses as well. Now did you notice that when we echoed goodbye world, it showed this on two separate lines? Of course you did, and it looked ugly. Glad you really didn't show your friends, eh? Now when we use the echo command like we did, its job is to echo back to the screen exactly what is on the same line. Well, that also includes the word echo. So what we really get back is a copy of the entire line including the word echo, and then another line just containing the text. Well, we don't really need this line twice, so we can simply use the echo off command to turn off echoing of the same line. So above our echo goodbye world, we'll simply type in echo off, and we'll save that, and we'll come back here and we'll rerun it again. Now in our output here, you can see that the text doesn't appear twice, but we still do have the word echo appear here at the top before our text. Now we can get rid of that too if we want by coming back to a notepad and adding the @ symbol in front of the echo off statement. So again, if we save this and come back here and rerun our script, we now only get the output, which is the text that you probably expected to see in the first place. So using the @ symbol simply stops the current line from being displayed. But what it also does is stops other commands from being displayed as well. So let's go back to our notepad and we'll type in a simple command. Let's type in dir c:\\. Now the more elite viewers would know that this will just list the contents of my C directory. So we'll save this and we'll go back to our command prompt and we'll rerun our script. Now in our output we can again see that the echo line is gone. The text appears that we asked for, and the dir command has been run, showing the output. But you might also notice that up here the dir command itself doesn't appear. Now that may or may not be good depending on what you want. Some people will only want to see the output, but others will want to see what commands their script is executing. Suit yourself, but if you want to see the command, we can simply turn echoing back on. So back at Notepad, above our dir command, we'll just simply place an echo on command. Now remember, unless you want to see this echo on being displayed on the screen, just make sure you place an @ symbol in front of echo on. So we'll save that and we'll come back here, we'll run our command again. And now we can see dir c:\\, displayed on the screen showing us the command that we ran. So this @ symbol simply means don't print the line to standard output, which of course, as we've just seen, happens to be our screen. Okay, so recapping, so far we've learned about using comments, using rem to display comments and the double colon method to hide comments. We've also learned about using the echo command to display text and using echo on and echo off to turn on or off text echoing. We've also demonstrated the value that the @ command can provide in hiding the current line. Remember, it doesn't hide the output of a command like we saw, just the line itself. See how much fun we're having and time you're saving with scripting? Yeah, I bet you can. But in all seriousness, you will certainly see the benefits as we work through this course. We'll see you in the next video where we'll start looking a bit harder at some useful commands that you're going to use in your scripts.